Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Paddlesport Trade Coalition's informational webinar. This is our continuing 2026 webinar series covering a variety of PTC topics. Recordings of the previous webinars are posted for review on the PTC website at paddlesporttradecoalition.org. Today's webinar is presented by Cross Currents Leadership. It is titled Beyond the Booth, What's New at PTC Colab 2026. The webinar is open to all interested parties, and we're excited to have you with us today. We think it's going to be a really interesting webinar with a number of very outstanding presenters. Kind of give you a tease at what's going to happen at PTC Colab, what's in the plans this year. My name is Pamela Dillon. I serve as staff for the Paddlesports Trade Coalition. I'm pleased to serve as your on-air host for today's webinar with much valued assistance behind the scenes from Kristen Place. Kristen is your associate representative on the PTC Board of Directors. She is also head of outdoor for Digital Delta. And Rapid Media is part of that Delta Digital network, and Rapid Media is the media sponsor of the Paddlesport Trade Coalition. So thanks, Kristen, for all that you do. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. If you've been on previous webinars, it's tracking according to those previous plans. The webinar is recorded. It'll be available via a link shared with all who have registered. To safeguard against background noise, all participants are muted for the duration of the webinar. But at the end of the webinar, we've included some Q&A time. At that time, if you'd like to ask your question live, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you to ask your question. We've scheduled up to 60 minutes to provide information and allow for your questions, but we encourage your engagement in a number of ways. First of all, utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom main screen. If you can use that at any time during the presentation. Some of your questions may be answered out loud. Some may be directed to a specific presenter, or we may just email you direct with a response or a link. We also want you to use the chat feature at this time to share your information. Please open up that chat. Tell us who you are, the company, the organization you represent, and where you're located. And we really enjoy hearing from all of you. And thank you again for joining us. Also, have your phones available. There are several QR codes in this presentation, so be ready to capture those nuggets of information. Thanks again for joining us. To get us started, here is our PTC Board of Directors Chair, Stig Larsson. Stig, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, thank you, Pam, and thank you everyone for attending this webinar. Doing some pretty cool and exciting things that Andrew's going to show us. Before we jump into the meat of that part of the webinar, though, I just want to remind everybody that the PTC Colab is returning in 2026 for 3 days of connection, collaboration, and forward-thinking conversations. Really focused on the future of paddle sports. It's a great opportunity for everyone from brands, retailers, reps and outfitters, organizations, media, and industry leaders to get together at the Montgomery Whitewater Center to really talk about, the positives and the negatives of the industry, the wins and the losses that people are having, and ways to share ideas and to collaborate and figure out how we can solve those issues together. We spent a ton of time with an action-packed agenda. Pam, you can kind of share. Well, if you go to the QR code link on the page there, you'll be able to see the agenda. There's a detailed view, which you can see right here, but there's also more of a timeline view. As you can see this year, we really focused on creating multiple things happening at the same time. This was a desire from a lot of the past attendees, who wanted to kind of pick and choose the menu of which what they wanted to get from the PTC Colab. So we listened. We reached out to a ton of different guest speakers. Negotiate with the Montgomery Whitewater Center to allow us to have the use of the entire facility. And you can see here there's something that really speaks to everybody. So really hope you guys decide to come down, because it is the event of the year in North America for sure, to meet your peers and see where the industry is going, and especially see where the industry needs to go. So without further ado on that, I'd like to introduce our host here, Andrea White. For those of you who don't know, Andrea has one of those kind of career paths that makes total sense once you hear it. She spent 20 years in the corporate world doing communications, marketing, advocacy, and strategic work for some of the big names like Walgreens, General Mills, and IBM, plus a long stretch working on special project communications for the governor of Tennessee. Then she decided that she was kind of done with the boardrooms, and she really wanted to get into being on the water where her passion lies. Andrea puts all of that business savvy to work through Cross Currents Leadership, her consulting venture that helps Paddlesports organizations, instructors, and communities figure out policy, build programs that actually scale. She trains people from the ground up. She's also a go-to kayak instructor for beginners and a mentor for instructors just getting started. If you ask around the Paddlesports world, you'll hear her name a lot. I met Andrea for the first time in Oklahoma City, and she made a lasting impact on me. She served on the ACA Board of Directors and led the ACA Regional Activity Council, both nationally and in the Southeast. She co-founded Kayaking 101 Partnership, which won the National Safe Boating Council's 2024 Community Impact Award, and built the Beaver Crew Train the Trainer program, which has helped certify 57 community-based instructors so far, 27 of them serving diverse and adaptive paddling communities. On top of all of that, she's also active with NASBLA's Paddlesports Committee and the Paddlesports Trade Coalition, and her work keeps popping up in the industry's biggest publications. So no stranger to this world. I'd like to introduce Andrea and welcome her to this webinar takeover.
Thank you, Stig. Oh my gosh, it is so much fun. When you guys called and asked if we'd be interested in doing a webinar takeover, I just clapped with glee. This is so much fun, and I appreciate the invitation. We're going to have a great day today. We have the opportunity, you guys, to really get a sneak peek behind the curtain of what's happening in terms of all the great content being put together for PTC Colab this fall. So all the assumptions you would have already about what would be at this industry annual conference, being able to see new products, being able to talk to the brands, being able to talk to retailers and outfitters and really find out what's happening on the ground level, get that phenomenal networking, first-person conversations and relationships. We all expect that we're going to have that kind of a superlative experience at this annual conference. But what we may not know is some of these other value-added opportunities, some of these guest speakers and things that are going to add value to the way that you run your business. And so we want to give you a sneak peek so you know that it's coming. You can sign up well in advance. You can plan your trip to Montgomery and take full advantage. You may find out today that this is something that makes perfect sense for you and a colleague to come, because as Stig pointed out to you, there's going to be multiple tracks of information being shared. You may want to divide and conquer for some hours so that you're accomplishing more than you could accomplish alone in the space of this 4 days. So with that in mind, you've got the visuals here for Montgomery Whitewater Center there in Montgomery, Alabama. It'll be October the 14th through the 16th. We've included the QR code, so there's more information about the collab there. You can go ahead and register. It is a free registration. And we are going to have access to the whole center. We're going to have access to the whitewater course, the lower pond, all of this space for brand showcases to demonstrate and find out about all these new products. We've got multiple locations to do educational content, business informational content, and development of your professional skills. So there's going to be a lot included. We also have access to the Alabama River, which is virtually across the street. So we've got both the whitewater venue, the lower pond venue, and a flatwater river venue, natural venue. So there's going to be more happening in any given hour this year than in any PTC in the past. And you really don't want to miss this one. You're going to have serious FOMO if you miss this one. Pam, why don't we go to this next slide where I kind of lay out for all the folks on the recording. This is the conversation we're going to have about what makes it worth pushing the button and planning the trip, whether that's planning a road trip or buying your plane ticket. Go ahead, reserve your Airbnb or your hotel room. Let's make a plan to meet each other in Montgomery. Let's go see each other in Montgomery this year and make a date. With that, I'd like to invite my first guest, one of our guest speakers from this fall. Dr. Chris Davis is joining us. Dr. Chris Davis is an elite ACA Safety and Rescue instructor, a member of the Safety and Rescue Committee, as well as the Safety and Rescue Instructor Alliance. And Chris, I know you, along with Steph LaRue and Jim Coffey, have been hard at work developing this new standardized 2-hour curriculum for World Drowning Prevention Day. And it was just recently announced you guys are the 2026 Higgins and Langley Award winner for program development. I mean, what an honor. We are so excited to have you at PTC Colab. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening on July 25th and then what we're going to be able to present to the Colab?
Absolutely. So yeah, thanks for having us today. And what we're going to be doing here on July 25th. So July 25th is been designated as World Drowning Prevention Day by the World Health Organization. And lots of different initiatives around the world go on that day in various communities focused at drowning prevention. Drowning is one of the leading causes of accidental death worldwide, particularly for children, particularly for young adults, and continues to be, a significant public health concern throughout, the United States, North America, and the rest of the world. As far as our objectives and stuff for this was to try to bring these initiatives that have been a lot of focused on public swimming pools, parks, communities, and things to really try to bring this to the paddle sports community, particularly there's been a lot of other stuff in like the larger boating community and things through the Coast Guard Auxiliary and stuff. But we at the ACA Safety and Rescue Committee have really been focused for the last couple of years on recognition, treatment, and prevention of drowning, because we looking at the data on fatalities, particularly in the whitewater community and stuff, overwhelmingly drowning is the thing that we're worried about, which makes sense. We're recreating in the water. That's an ever-present concern. So we've put together an initiative as a committee based on an event that Jim Coffey and I put together in Mexico last winter to do a free CPR and drowning prevention training that is specifically geared towards paddlers. And so the goal for this is to have a 2-hour standardized training that's going to be very easy for someone to be able to replicate elsewhere. That's going to give some basics of some background information, some understanding of the drowning process, kind of what's going on in our bodies, how to recognize drowning. And then we're going to teach CPR and like how it may differ a little bit doing CPR on a patient that has drowned. So which is going to have us prioritize focusing on giving them rescue breaths, which are typically not taught in most layperson CPR classes that you're going to take now, because without getting too deep into it, there's been a lot of positive benefit for all comers. When someone has a heart attack and collapses out of the hospital, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation was a big reason we recognized people weren't stopping to help, because they didn't want to put their mouth on a stranger's mouth, right? Understandably. And it turns out we didn't really need to do that for people that had a heart attack and collapsed. However, with drowning, the big issue is that people have been the lack of oxygen, right? They don't have air. You can't breathe underwater, So we found that it's very important to give rescue breaths to people that have suffered drowning. So we train people in how to give rescue breaths appropriately, how to do CPR, and how to manage some of the equipment they might be wearing. We're managing their life jackets, helmets, having a coordinated way to get that stuff off, and then give people a chance to practice, ask questions. And we've kind of left it really open to be able to be customized to people's own communities. So if these are kayak fishermen, stuff like that, you have it somewhere with equipment that's familiar to them in locations that are familiar to them. If it's with whitewater paddlers, again, the same thing. And have the option to have people learn how to get people out of the water, use some techniques for moving and carrying people, how to do some very simple. It's certainly by no means like a swiftwater rescue course or anything, but just some very targeted skills that may be like adjunctive to or in addition to some other training that people have done to be able to help them safely rescue someone from the point of they have an unconscious patient. How do we get them to the side of the river? How do we get to the riverbank? How do we start initiating rescue breaths and get them a lot of practice? Hopefully, our hope is that people go with their buddies they paddle with, their community members and stuff. They either, take this information and pass it along, or bring their friends, come learn together, and hopefully be able to respond if they do encounter, the worst case scenario, we're out on the enjoying the river, that when someone does drown. So what we're going to
it's going to be so amazing. I mean, the fact that we've created a scalable, replicable, standardized 2-hour curriculum that any ACA instructor can deliver with the support of other paddling leaders. We can now bring this to the paddling community as well as to our Riverside community, our community, right?
Yeah, and the hope is that we're able to build something that's so simple to reproduce that this can just spread, right? That we're gonna have our big push every year on World Drowning Prevention Day. But my hope is that someone comes to this thing and then they come and they do this with their paddle club and they do this with their community, and like they don't have to wait till the next Drowning Prevention Day. That this will just create organic training and sharing of knowledge among other paddlers that will happen, informally or formally, like more than this. Our goal is to train 1,000 people this in 2 weeks on July 25th. But then what I think kind of my hope for the PTC Colab is that we're going to be able to share this information, give you guys a sneak peek of what it looks like, be able to do some of that training, and then hopefully go back and next July in your own communities put one of these together. We're hoping to reach, we've got a lot of people in the whitewater community doing it now, but we're really trying to reach all the rest of the paddle sports communities as well. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity to reach a lot of folks and kind of share this information. And we're going to,
absolutely. And allow some of these local paddling leaders, local business folks to be the hero in their community that brings this curriculum to their local community. I know here in Atlanta, the Metro Hooch has got a drowning problem at Jump Rock, and at Lake Lanier, there is a drowning problem in our local community. And I know up in the Appalachian Mountains, I hear from my whitewater friends all the time, those local swimming holes along the Whitewater River, they attract the folks from the local community. And we want to be able to bring some skills and knowledge to our community to help them. Here's a perfect, scalable, bite-sized way for a business to make an impact.
Absolutely. And this is one of the things that, we see that in a lot of communities are, paddle sports retailers and things like that are really the touch point in the community for like having boat demo days, river cleanups, all kinds of other stuff that you do. This is another great opportunity, of way to make a big impact on your community, engage people, and and do something really positive that will ultimately help everybody.
That's right. That's right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today to give us a little teaser. I can't wait to see the full presentation in October and hear the recap of what happened for our first event.
Hopefully extremely successful in 2 weeks, which is coming up really fast. So
exactly. Right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, so our next guest is Kelly Davis, the Director of Research from the Outdoor Industry Association. Y'all, I have to tell you, I'm a huge fangirl of Kelly's work. She is got the best team surrounding her. She's doing some cutting edge work on participation trends and customer segmentation and outdoor recreation. And she's going to come talk to us about paddle sports specifically. So Kelly, thank you for joining us today. Can you give us a little teaser about what you're going to tell us in October?
Yeah, I think I can, Andrea. And I just want to say hi to my distant cousin, Dr. Davis. You're out there saving lives, buddy. That's awesome. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to increase your bottom line. So in a nutshell, I'm going to talk about both participation and consumer intelligence at the Colab. And actually, before you show that slide, I want to talk about outdoor overall, because it's my job to measure participation and sort of consumer demand overall in the outdoor market. And what I see in the participation data and the consumer intelligence data is a larger group of participants. I mean, we've gained about 30 million participants since the pandemic. We're at about 60% of all Americans over the age of 6 participating in some form of outdoor activity. And that's good news. A lot are coming in gateway activities like hiking or even running and transferring to trail running and discovering, hey, it's pretty cool out here. I kind of like running on dirt. Maybe I want to try camping next. So we've gained a lot of new participants. And while this has happened, and frankly, for a decade before this happened, we were seeing a decline in the frequency of activity. So, we've got a lot more participants now, but they're participating much less frequently. So the average is 65.2 a year. Back in 2012, it was 87.4 a year. So, we're seeing that decline. And really what we're seeing is a lot of people participating less frequently, especially young adults, and an opportunity to be more intentional about engaging the 30 million people that joined us since the pandemic, and really being intentional about encouraging people to just do one more outside, one more hike, maybe try camping. Hey, climbing's cool. Paddle sports are amazing. So that's what I'm seeing in the data. And the problem with that is that, we've thought for years that, these core, really frequent participants were driving the market. I heard over and over again, 80% of sales are to 20% of the participant group of the consumer market. And we did further research in consumer intelligence and segmented the market as of 2025 and found that that's just not happening. What we see is a very, very large group in the less frequent participation categories, the lower spend categories, and sort of the lower intensity of approach to outdoor recreation, which is sort of aggression. Do you come in and say, hey, I paddle once or twice a year, or, are you doing it every chance you get? So, there's a difference between those two participants and those two consumers in terms of how they spend and how they approach outdoor and, and what they mean to the market. And I'll tell you what, the super core, like the super frequent, super high spending, sit at about 7% of the market, maybe 6.5%. And they're pretty solid, but there's a very large group of people that used to participate 51 times or more, or 51 times to about 250 times a year, and that group is declining. And that's not great news for anybody, because the more frequent the participant, the more frequent the sale, the more probably high end the sale might be, so higher margins. So we're looking at that and thinking about what we can do as an industry. It could be just a one more time campaign, right? Just go paddle one more time. Maybe try C4.
Yeah. Now, Pam, let's look at that next slide real quick, because, I so appreciate the depth of the research that you've done, Kelly. But just the fact that we know there are currently just over 40 million US paddlers, and we can look at the 1-year growth versus the 3-year trend in each of these segments of different kinds of paddling. But you've got customer segmentation that's even more robust than that, because you just referred to it and you talked about it as their approach to the activity.
Yeah.
And the way they think about whether they're going to do their next trip, who they're asking, who they're going to, how much they're going to spend, and that there's just tremendous opportunity for us to get one more sale from the folks that are not the hardcore participants, right?
But yeah, and just to give you a little bit of a teaser overview that I didn't include in this slide, and in terms of the percentage of frequent participants in paddle, and I'll tell you what, in the participation data, the threshold is 8 times or more. That makes you core. Only 23% of recreational kayakers met that threshold. So paddled 8 times or more in a year, and it doesn't get better. Actually, it's a lot less in sea touring, in SUP, in rafting, especially in rafting. But I mean, that's an interesting opportunity. Can we engage participants to paddle more often?
So guys, this is just a teaser of the kind of robust data Kelly's going to be bringing us in October. I can't wait for you to see all of it. It's going to change the way you ask questions in your business. It's going to change the way you interact with your team. And this is one of those things that you're either going to want to bring somebody with you to the collab to see this data with you so that they can perceive it from their role in a way that's different than the way you perceive it from your role at your company. Or you're going to want to bring this slide back and show it to them and have this conversation. It's going to be that robust. So I really can't encourage you enough to come and take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. I love sharing the data. I didn't even get to talk about the slide, but I wanted to apologize to the panel earlier when we were just talking and getting ready. I completely swapped these two trend lines. The orange is 1 year of growth, and the green is 3 years of average annual growth in each of the different activities, as you can see. And that tells me that it's we've got actually a slowing trend going on in paddle sports, and it's not incongruent with what I'm seeing across outdoor. I mean, we grew 1.1% between 2024 and 2025. And our average 3-year average annual growth across outdoors 2.9. So don't feel too bad, and you're doing really well. But it's just
right. But like, for example, if you're a business that is focused on sea kayaking and you've seen a 3-year, basically flat, a little bit up, but basically flat. But then the last year it was 3% down.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
you need to figure out how you're going to reach out to some of these stand-up paddleboard and recreational kayak fishing folks, right?
Especially, I mean, recreational kayak has the critical mass. I mean, there's no doubt that targeting sea kayak, touring kayaks up, everything else has its advantages. But when I look at this participant base, I'm like, wow, that's 15.3 million. That's a whole lot of kayakers that are just kind of dabbling at this point.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, giving us a little teaser. I can't wait to see the full presentation. I am anxiously, how excited I get about the data.
You do. You're always in the front row. I can always count on it, Andrea, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank Stig, too, for the opportunity to present today. Thanks.
So, all right. So, Pam, we're going to move on to the next slide. And just by way of segue, I happen to know that our best practices committee, where I serve as a volunteer, is also planning to present a whole session. They've got a case study they're doing this summer with a local not-for-profit paddling-oriented organization in combination with the Southeastern as a sales rep, with Aquabound and Suspends as brands, with Westbrook Supply as a local retailer. And they're really trying to try some different things and understand and measure how can we increase the number of people coming through the door at the retailer and people asking questions about the different brands. How do we best engage these folks that are new paddlers and that are at the entry level and don't know where they're going to spend their next paddling dollar, and they're still learning about paddling? How can we be most effective as a mentor and a business community supporting their interest? The best practices committee is working on it, and they're going to be presenting and having some roundtables that are going to help us kind of delve more into that, so that once you get that data from Kelly about the segments you need to be reaching out to, we can then have some robust conversations about what does reaching out to those audiences look like? What does that entail for your business? I think it's going to be really, really exciting and a good opportunity to learn. With that, I'd like to move to our next slide, and I want to talk to Jeff Atkins, who's here to join us. We have also added some ACA credentialing opportunities adjacent and within this conference, and some other like skills training. So, Jeff, we've got 2 different credentialing opportunities and 3 different skills demo sessions. Can you tell us a little bit first about the credentialing opportunities? Because these are some unusual things. It's hard to find these classes. Like if I just was looking for these classes anyway, they're hard to come by. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure thing. We're first, thanks for letting me be here. Second, yes, these first day is an ACA instructor update for a level one, level two, and it's going to be cross-discipline. So if you're a canoe, kayak, or stand-up paddleboard instructor at level one or level two, this is an opportunity to get your instructor update for the 4-year certification there. It doesn't have to be your last year of certification. You could actually do it prior to your last year if you want to take advantage of this opportunity while it's here. During this course, we will focus on a lot of teaching, instructing, and coaching components there that are cross-discipline. It's a fantastic opportunity for when you folks who go out and paddle with multiple kinds of craft. It's great, and it's also a great opportunity to practice some teaching and get some feedback from your local friends and professionals as well.
Well, and I know that it's really hard. I'm a level 2 river kayaking instructor. It's hard to find updates posted so that I can get it by the time I need it and plan around it. It's hard to find them for one day. They're usually a 2 or 3 day update. But to be able to find one that is a 1 day update, that's very unusual. And being able to attract, like, if folks have somebody in their retail store or their outfitter that is certified as an instructor and needs to get an update, the canoe instructors, the kayak instructors, the SUP instructors, they can all come get updated together. And what that also means as an added value is that I, as an instructor, am going to get to have a little bit more familiarity with these other craft, which is just invaluable to me as somebody who trains at the entry level, because the beginners don't differentiate between canoe, kayak, or SUP, right? So if I'm not able to, if I'm a kayak instructor and I can't speak the language of SUP, I'm not going to be as helpful to them. So being able to come and get a little cross training, that's invaluable too.
And the most scary part about it is that for folks who haven't paddled some of these other ones, the worst thing can happen is that usually you come in there and you find another sport you're crazily attached to, and then you want to start buying more gear.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Mhm. I'm a victim of it.
So there's your 1 day update. That's one of, it's the only place in the country I've heard that this one's being offered this year. That doesn't mean it's the only time it's happening, but it's the only one I've seen posted. So come sign up for the PTC and spend 1 day getting an instructor update. What a great way to support your staff capability. Now let's talk about the fishing endorsement.
Yeah, this one is a great opportunity for folks who are trying to reach out to a lot of the paddling, fishing people are out there who fish in kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and canoes as well. And it's a great way to have that interaction with folks on the shore, because we've gotten tremendous amount of feedback in the past from folks who do paddle sports fishing that they want to really know how to learn how to their participants want to learn how to fish. And so these instructors are going through fishing practices and teaching fishing to really, hopefully, pun intended, catch those people who are not used to, or not been interested in taking official like training classes, but it's an opportunity for them to get fishing tips and in the meantime also get some good safety practice instruction so they can learn themselves as well as be able to reach out and help other members of the community that they fish with.
That's right. Now, I know that to be eligible for this endorsement as a teaching credential, you've got to already be a certified ACA instructor in either canoe, kayak, or SUP.
Yes.
But if you're already certified at any level in any of those craft, you can come for this 1 day endorsement with Jeff as your IT, and you can potentially earn this endorsement, this instructor credential to teach kayak fishing or SUP fishing or canoe fishing, right? And guys, what I know, because I've worked so closely with these guys when they develop the curriculum, they've couched it all because they know their customer. They know their customer's there to learn fishing, right? But we also know that the kayak anglers are showing up disproportionately on the fatalities report. So what they've done is they've snuck the vegetables in with the cake mix, right? The curriculum is designed to teach them how they're going to be a better angler. But oh, by the way, all the things that help make you a better angler also help you control your boat and maintain your balance and prepare for cold water and do all of the things that are gonna keep you safe and coming home smiling and paddling more often and buying more gear in the long run. So it really is a phenomenal opportunity for any already certified instructor to expand your audience, expand your product offerings as an instructor, expand your knowledge and your vocabulary about how to appeal to this segment of the customer base, and help bring some kayak anglers home that might not make it otherwise, right? Because they're not signing up for safety classes, but here's a way that you can sneak the vegetables in with the cake mix.
I'm crazy excited to have Jeff Little there, who's a long time influencer in the paddling fishing community, and I was so excited to learn from him kind of being there.
Yeah, he's going to be a huge asset to help teach that class. Y'all are going to just have the best day. That'll be so much fun. Between the two of you, I can't even imagine. Because Jeff Atkins is already known. He uses games as part of his instructional curriculum all the time. He's known for how do you make it fun. And then Jeff Little, he just eats, sleeps, and dreams about fish. So you put the two of them together, it's going to be a great class. So now we've also got 3 different skills demo sessions. So we're going to have a session with these ACA instructors helping teach about kayak touring. We're going to have a session where we're talking about SUP. And we're going to have a session where we're talking about kayak fishing. So if you've got folks that just want to come dabble and learn a few skills, learn a little vocabulary, learn about how to talk about this to your customers, Jeff, I know you and Jeff and some others from Montgomery Whitewater are going to be leading some of these sessions. Can you talk a little bit about what kinds of things you might be able to learn in one of those 2-hour skills demos?
Well, sometimes their folks have a really hard time. They hop on a stand-up paddleboard to go straight, and even on the canoe, maybe learn to go straight. But stand-up paddleboard's very similar, so we can give you some quick tips on how to stay straight paddling on a stand-up paddleboard. Also, a lot of them how to self-rescue and how to keep hold of your craft, and a lot of it's very simple and very empowering to see once you figure out how to control it and then how to take care of yourself or take care of somebody else. There's some really quick maneuvers we can do to show how easy it is to get back in a boat or a board and get going again. And it'll be ways to give some tips that if you don't utilize yourself, hopefully you can pass on to some other folks.
Wow, I just love it. I just love it. And you guys remember that chart that Stig showed you earlier where you've got the columns of all the different activities happening at the same time. You're going to have a hard time choosing between going to one of these skills demo and some of the other sessions happening at that same time. It's going to be a really valuable set of content. You're going to want to bring more than one person from your organization. So thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you making time for us today.
Thank you.
Pam, we can go on to the next slide. I just want to tease a couple more topics we're going to be able to talk about. Guys, I don't know if you've been following what's happening at the state level, but there's the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable and the confluence of states have been organizing the state offices of outdoor rec. We're up to 25 states that now have an office of outdoor rec at the state level that's part of state government. That means they've got funding, they've got grants, they've got staff, and their whole purpose is to drive the outdoor recreation economy in their state. So there's activities, there's things that are happening in these 25 states. And now that you've got 25 states, the rest are going to come. They're going to happen quickly, right? They've been happening over the last 10 or 12 years, 1 or 2 at a time. It's now going to start happening 5 or 10 at a time. And these states are going to have offices of outdoor rec because it's a trend now. They've got the critical mass. So what that means is if you're a small business or community organization is not paying attention, you could be missing out on a key networking opportunity, on a key grant opportunity. There may be other ways that you could be engaging with your state office of outdoor recreation to do your own workforce development, to get some kind of grant or scholarship for workforce training for the people that work in your business, to get some sort of lift for advertising and promotion, to get demo opportunities with audiences that other people are organizing and doing insurance for, so you don't have to do that part. There's just all kinds of ways that you may be able to tap into what your state office of outdoor rec is doing to drive your local outdoor recreation economy. And Nathan Rayner, who is the director of the Pennsylvania Office of Outdoor Recreation. He's also the chair for the Confluence of States. So that's all 25 state offices of outdoor rec. He's the one that was elected by his peers to be chair. He's going to come to PTC and he's going to speak. And he'll be there for you to ask your questions about what's happening in your state, live and in person. So I just think that's a tremendous opportunity for all of our small businesses and organizations to be able to get some added value beyond what you would normally expect at an annual conference. Let's go to the next slide. And Stig, I'm going to put you on the spot because we're also going to have an opportunity for folks to demo this whole new category of PFDs that's about to come to the market. Nobody in the US or Canada has seen these yet. They're level 50s. They exist other places in the world. The harmonized standard between Canada and the US Coast Guard has just been approved for this whole new category of PFDs that are streamlined and sleek and light and not hot, and have 10 pounds of flotation instead of 16 pounds of flotation. And you're going to have them there for people to demo in the lower pond.
Yeah, we are. We didn't realize we'd be the first and the only in North America, but yeah, we have them out there and about, and a lot of our dealers are seeing them. We'll have a full fleet down there for everyone to try in real life, in real time, and they can compare them against the 70 Newton files that we've also built out.
That's right. So historically, we have called them type 3s. They are now called level 70s with 70 Newtons of flotation. That's our standard paddling life jacket, right? We've got high flotation ones some folks in Whitewater use, but now we're going to have a low flotation one, a 50 Newton PFD. And you're going to have them in October to demo and do educational content. If you want to make some educational videos, you'll be able to do that. We're going to have them right there handy, firsthand. You can touch them, you can feel them, you can put them on your body and jump in the water and see how well you float. These are going to be things you're going to need to be able to talk about with your customers. They're things you're going to be able to talk about with your students and your participants, no matter what kind of organization you come from. And nobody else is going to get their hands on them until next spring. So Stig, thank you for making such an effort to bring these for demo opportunities.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Excited to show everybody.
So with that, Pam, let's go to the next slide. And I want to tease a little bit. We know from other webinars we've done, other conversations we've had, we know that out there in our paddle sports business community, there's some really meaningful and detailed and sometimes robust and emotional conversations that we need to have about what's happening at the retailer level, about what's happening at the outfitter level, about what's happening at the brand level. And we're already in the process of putting together a retailer roundtable so that we can get everybody in a room and have the conversation and really understand what it is we're dealing with and how we can all help make this industry more sustainable. Get the outfitters around at a round table and let's talk about what are the dynamic drivers of these businesses and what are the things that you're seeing in real life at the grassroots level, and how do we deal with that at the macro level to make these businesses more successful. And likewise, we're going to have the brands there so that we can have the brand roundtable and we can talk about how these all interact, how these segments of our marketplace all interact to make each other more successful so that we're growing the pie as a whole. I want to invite you, if you belong to a retailer, an outfitter, or a brand and would like to participate in this conversation, put it in the comments here, send one of us an email. We are looking for folks that want to be at the table because we want you there. We want to have the conversation. Everybody's walking in, eyes wide open, ready to have the conversation. And with that, Pam, let's go to the next slide. We will once again, this will be the second year in a row that we've done this at PTC Colab. We're going to be distributing the awards on behalf of the National Association of State Boating Law Administrators, NASBLA. So the NASBLA Paddle Sports Committee has an honor that they bestow upon businesses that do a particularly good job of promoting safe paddling in their online presence. So think your website, think your social media, think all the things all the visuals that you put out to represent your company. And the folks that are making sure that you're always representing safe paddling, they're giving awards to those folks. They want to recognize them. They want to make a big deal out of the fact that you're doing it the right way and helping us grow the sport as a whole. So we're going to be recognizing those companies. It's designed specifically for the business sector, for brands, outfitters, liveries, retailers. And they extended the deadline for us, guys. You've got one more day that they're accepting nominations. So you can the QR code's right there. It's on the NASBLA website. You can apply for your own company, or you can nominate another company that you work with all the time and you know they're doing a particularly good job. You want them to be recognized. I know last year Yak Attack was recognized. I know Mustang Survival was recognized. Montgomery Whitewater was recognized last year. We've got a whole bunch of folks that have already received this award. It's a 3-year award. And this year we'll have a whole new crop of awardees. So get your company on the list now. So that you can have this logo to represent and show the world that you are helping us grow the paddle sports market and promoting safe paddling for the next 3 years. And with that, Pam, I think you're ready for the next slide. Stig, I'll hand it back over to you. I have done the best I could to give people a sneak peek behind the curtain and understand why they need to go ahead and buy that plane ticket and reserve that hotel room. But I want to turn it over to you, and hopefully I did the job.
Yeah, Andrew, you did excellent. Thank you so much for doing this takeover. Hopefully there's more of these in the future. Now that everyone's seen what's coming, tons of excitement. Obviously, these collab events take a lot of effort to organize and to run. But you can see we're not stepping back from our success in year 1 or year 2. Year 3 is going to be even more all-encompassing. So I really hope everyone's excited to be there. With that, we have a poll that we'd like to kind of see after you've heard today's webinar. Christine, throw that poll up there. What are your thoughts now of the PTC Colab? Are you more excited to go than what you thought before? Like, what's your feeling about attending? I guess while everyone does that, kind of click away and fill out those forms. I can read the results in a couple minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments on what you've heard so far today from Andrea and the other panelists, or myself, as the committee chair for the Paddlesports Trade Coalition?
We have a question in the Q&A from Austin Black. So how's the number of participants generated? Are surveys conducted? What do those surveys look like? So that's for the Outdoor Industry Association.
That's for Kelly. Kelly, you want to take that one?
Yeah, you bet. So in 2007, a whole bunch of trade associations, including outdoor, snow sports, tennis, golf, Sports and Fitness Industries Association, which is team sports, swimming, etc., Health and Racket, and USA Football, a few others, skate and surf, came together to fund a study into participation so that we would all have the same data and we could do cross participation. We've done it every year since 2007. So it's the way we've accomplished that is a sample methodology. We do use a paid panel survey takers, which probably leans our bias into conservative, but we do 1,600 interviews a month. And that means 18,000 interviews a year is what we base that data on. And it's projected using census data. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, Kelly.
Got it.
Another question is, how do I sign up to attend the collab? I mean, obviously, go to the website, paddlesportstradecoalition.org. And in there, you can register to attend and you register to exhibit. Some key things that are different this year that are more exciting, as we listened to from past years, is that we actually have created a retailer engagement fund. So what that means is that every brand can nominate up to 10 retailers that they would like to see, and every retailer can nominate up to 10 brands that they would like to see at the PTC Colab. The retailers, if you're early bird and you registered and you get nominated by the highest proportion number of brands, we will fund you your hotel room for the 3 days of the event. Goal here is kind of reduce that risk for the retailers, get you excited to come down. Ultimately, you're coming to the collab, you're learning how to either amplify your business, better your business, learn from your peers, come away excited to grow paddle sports. We want you there because the retailers are the front lines of this industry, along with the outfitters and the schools and clubs. Any other questions?
I don't think so here. I'll show the poll results here.
Okay, so it looks like
all yeses.
all yeses. Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
yes, yes.
Success. Yeah, I mean, honestly, being at all three collabs, starting from the first one in Oklahoma City to where we were at last year in Charlotte to what's coming down the line in Montgomery, being in this industry for my entire life, running level 6 for 30 years, being at the trade shows, going to the European version of what Outdoor Retailer was, people don't realize how important it is to get together at least once a year. Ideally, it's twice a year to talk up to your peers, figure out what's working in different areas of the country, figure out what's not working, what maybe is working for somebody is not working for you, figure out what you have to change in your business model to make it work. That's really, really important to do this stuff. Otherwise we get caught in our silos, and we don't ever end up growing our business the way it should. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, if you do have other questions, obviously email Pam or myself. We will take the time and we'll fill you in the details and help you guide you along the right path to make sure you see you in Montgomery. Over to you, Andrea.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all once again for inviting me, but also to plug 1 week away, next Wednesday night, Stig is going to come on my program. We're going to do my live conversations with Cross Currents Leadership. It's just 15 minutes live stream. It is recorded, so it's available later. But we're going to talk about this new line of PFDs that Level 6 is launching, and Level 50s in particular, and have just a quick 15 minutes of the key things you need to know to be able to level up your business as the whole market changes, the regulations change. You're going to need to be able to speak to what is the law about level 50 PFDs. Well, you're going to need to be able to tell people what makes these different. And Stig's going to walk us through it so that we will all be experts by the end of that 15 minutes. So Stig, thanks for coming on next Wednesday night, but everybody come join us live.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, it's been certainly showing the level 50 PFDs to the retailers and outfitters that we sell to. There's quite a bit of excitement around having finally a PFD that isn't bulky and cumbersome, allows people to actually enjoy freedom of motion on the water, encourages people to actually wear PFDs other than stick it underneath their seat. Upcoming webinars, we have one in August and September. The dates, additional topics are going to be announced on the Paddlesports Trade Coalition website as well. If you're on our mailing list, we'll certainly be sending you a link with all future details to come. Over to you, Pam.
Well, I just want to thank Andrea, thank Jeff, thank Kelly, forever thank Kristen, and obviously Stig and everyone else for joining us this afternoon. Feel free to contact us at info@paddlesportstradecoalition.org at any time if you have questions or if you have input, even if you have thoughts on the agenda. It is being developed. It is a working draft at this point in time. So what we have on the website, it will continue to be updated with speakers noted. Some of the times may switch as some of the planning moves forward. So please give us your grace, I guess, if something maybe shifts a little bit, but it's a very robust agenda, and we haven't even added the ACA certification opportunities to that yet. So it will continue to evolve. But send us your questions, ask, and please register. We are looking for not only attendees, participants, but PTC sponsors, Colab sponsors, and all the information that you need to be a sponsor or an exhibitor is found on the PTC website. And just look for Colab 2026. All the information is there. If you're not yet a member of PTC, we invite you to join. There's membership information also posted on the website. But we really just appreciate your opportunity. Share this webinar. Get excited about Colab. On behalf of all the presenters, the full PTC Board of Directors, we hope you can join us in Alabama in October or even before that at our upcoming webinars throughout the rest of the year. Until then, safe paddling. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks again to all of our presenters. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.